Tarini Yavati Paschatya Deshatarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. So by Prabhupada's mercy, Lord Krishna's mercy, we have gone to complete the second chapter today. And our overview has become a detailed study in another way to some extent. But nevertheless, I think everybody is getting benefit out of it. So let's continue this way. So today we will try to understand the answer to the fourth question of Arjuna. Arjuna had asked 4 questions, right? In the verse number 54, sorry. Arjuna asked 4 questions, and those 4 questions are answered by Krishna systematically from verse 55 to 71. So we have been discussing on that. So before we move forward, let us take a brief on what all we have understood in the second chapter in a very, concise way. Because last time I couldn't show the presentation because of some technical problem. Today I'm ready with the presentation. So I'll just quickly go through the presentation for our refresh of our memory with regard to what all we have understood so far. Okay. So this is the part 8 of overview of chapter 2. All these discussions we are having by the special mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of Worldwide Hare Krishna Movement, ISKCON. Only by his special grace we are able to understand Bhagavad Gita in such a wonderful way. Otherwise, understanding Bhagavad Gita is not easy. We owe a great sense of gratitude towards Prabhupada. So the first chapter basically was more or less on the introduction or setting the stage for the entire Bhagavad Gita's content. To repeat again, it's like in a drama, how before the drama or in the modern day context, film, a background is given of what story is going to unfold in the whole drama or the whole movie. Likewise, a stage setting is created, and based on that stage setting, the entire Bhagavad Gita's discussions and the knowledge revelation happens. And why this is so is because Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. And Mahabharata, which is known as the history of Greater India, is also known as the 5th Veda in the Bhagavata or Vedic scriptures. We know there are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda, right? Whereas this is called 5th Veda. Why? Because understanding other 4 Vedas and trying to get a depth of the knowledge in that and trying to follow the principles there, it is not easy for a common man, especially so in this present age called Kali Yuga. Because to even understand, or rather to learn Sanskrit and to understand what is there in the Vedas, Sanskrit language, you have to know Sanskrit grammar. And to do all these things, it will take 12 years minimum. Okay, so 12 years, who is having? Right? So this is the problem. And after that, whether you understand or not is one more question. Okay, so this being the challenge, the Bhagavata says, Stri Shudra Vijabandhunam Traina Suti Gochara. The Kali Yuga population is called Shudra population. Why? Because They are not having that elevated consciousness, high level intelligence to comprehend the Vedic subject matters. Their intelligence is very meager. For all these reasons, this compilation of Mahabharata was made, which is actually the history of Greater India. Earlier, the whole planet was called Bharata Varsha. So Mahabharata basically means the history of Greater India. Mahabharata, right? So all the Vedic principles in the entire Vedic understanding were in a very simplistic way retold in the form of history or historical incidents in Mahabharata. Whatever Vedic principles are there in various Vedic teachings are all in a very simplified manner presented in the Mahabharata for a common man's understanding. Mahabharata has around 1 lakh verses. And in this Mahabharata, Bhagavad Geeta, which is having only 700 verses, is added as part of the whole Mahabharata episode or the historical narration. In that way, actually, if you carefully read Bhagavad Gita, there are many connections, historical connections of Mahabharata. If you know them quite well, then you can relate the incidents of the instructions of Bhagavad Gita more nicely. That's the idea. But even though we don't know, also doesn't matter. Whatever philosophical understanding is there, that is good enough. But just to give a background, why this stage setting is made in first chapter is to give us the understanding that this is not simply a philosophical presentation. It is having a drama. It is having a wonderful theme. So that even a common man can relate. And Lord Krishna, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he gives such wonderful, simple examples, which you and I can relate so easily. That's the point. So this is the first chapter. And more or less, the stage was set. Arjuna, who is the hero of this whole episode, he was completely confused. And the person who was actually a warrior, Kshatriya, he came to fight, but finally decided not to fight for various reasons we know. And the second chapter actually is more or less the contents of the entire Bhagavad Gita summarized. Whatever Krishna is going to speak to Arjuna in the later chapters, from chapter 3, everything is summarized. What all Arjuna is going to hear, Krishna is summarizing them in this second chapter. So this is the chapter wherein Krishna starts beginning to give his instructions. Right? So the second chapter looks like this. It has 5 sections. The beginning few verses is again continuation of conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna again trying to put some more perspectives, why he should not fight. Finally, he's completely perplexed and confused, surrenders to Krishna as a disciple, and that is where Krishna takes the position of a guru, spiritual master, and starts instructing the wonderful teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So mainly, in the second chapter, we see 3 important sections, which is actually going to be explained and elaborated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. 3 important sections, that is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. These are the 3 important sections which Krishna touches briefly in this second chapter. In fact, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita is talking about Karma Yoga. All of us are doing activities. Talking is an activity. Eating is an activity. Sleeping is an activity. Everything is an activity. Right? Walking is an activity. So when the activities are done in connection with Krishna or is done for pleasure of Krishna, just like your walk, from walking to a mall, you walk towards temple, that is called Karma Yoga. Okay, you're eating, but instead of eating, you eat prasadam of Krishna, that is Karma Yoga. That's how Krishna explains in the first 6 chapters. Then the middle 6 chapters, from chapter 7 to 12, is called Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, wherein you do activity in a much elevated consciousness, connecting at your consciousness level, intelligence level, understanding various aspects around you, that it is Krishna's, I am only an instrument and I have to do this way. This is called Buddhi Yoga. Means acting out of, love, the sentiment of attachment towards every activity for Krishna. Karma Yoga, necessarily the attachment, sentiment may not be there. It may be a formality also. Eventually, you may come to the sentimental level, the level of the attachment level. Bhakti. Just like they say, Desha Bhakti. Right? Lot of attachment towards my country. Right? Always, I am charged with emotion to, serve my country. So that is the crude example, but Bhakti Yoga is much more spiritual and very sublime. We'll understand more about that in the middle 6 chapters. And in the last 6 chapters, Krishna is going to give us enlightenment about various technical aspects with regard to the world around us, about the nature of the soul, nature of super soul, the consciousness. What is consciousness? What are these 3 modes of nature? How everything in the material world, is all having a connection with Krishna, right? Like this, and how different people are having different faiths, different natures. Like this, Krishna goes on in the last 6 chapters. Basically, Bhakti Yoga is sandwiched between karma and jnana. So Bhakti Yoga cannot be simply done in a way that you don't have the understanding of what you're doing. So you know what you're doing. With the background of jnana, you act, karma. That is Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So Prabhupada never translated Bhakti Yoga as devotion. He always translated Bhakti Yoga as devotional service, action. Many times we have heard people saying, "Bahut bhakti hai man mein." Lot of bhakti in the heart, but externally nothing. Right? Went to Krishna temple, lot of bhakti. But what did you offer? 0. So Krishna is seeing what you offered, how much you have kept in your pocket. Okay, what seva you have done. That's the point. So Prabhupada gives a nice example. Many, businessmen come to Vrindavan, and mostly they would have, little elderly. So they will, offer Krishna some 100 rupees. And the balance, everything for my wife, children, 2 crore rupees. So Krishna is seeing 2 crore rupees, not your 100 rupees. So the Prabhupada gives the example to say, Krishna is not seeing what you are offering, how much you have kept, because after all, everything is his only. That's the point. So what is your practical action? When everything is Krishna's, that's why Krishna says, what does he say? Sarva dharman parityajya, mam ekam sharanam vraja. Surrender everything to me. That is very difficult. That is the point. Okay. Anyway, this is what we understand in this Bhagavad Gita with these 3 sections. And towards the last section, Krishna is answering the 4 questions, which we'll discuss again elaborately as we move forward. So Krishna also explained there are wonderful characteristics and benefits of Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. Krishna said is freedom from bondage of work. Right? And Krishna also said there is no loss or diminution on this path. Verse 40. This is a very special way of action which you do with the background of jnana. Again, bhakti cannot be sentimental, just sentiment. That bhakti is backed with knowledge and done in a very loving way. That's what it means. Okay. And it says from the greatest danger, we heard Krishna saying this, And that's why Krishna wanted that we need to have a resolute determination to do this. I'm just going to go a little faster because all things were discussed. And Krishna also mentioned that Ubhe Sukha Dishkrute, freedom from good and bad reactions, freedom from cycle of birth and death, indifferent to Vedic rituals, realization of relationship with Krishna as eternal servitor, the Samadhi aspect. Because Bhakti Yoga is something that is going to bring you to the topmost level of perfection. Because Karma Yoga, you may become accustomed to doing things, but you may not develop the sentiment. Just like one activity of Karma Yoga is taking prasadam. I'm giving example. Prasadam you can take, good. Taking ordinary food without offering and taking with offering is very good. But even while taking, you should develop the proper mood, proper feelings. Oh, this is such a nice, wonderful kripa, mercy of Krishna. With great, I'm so fortunate that I'm getting this mercy of Krishna. With these feelings, if you take, that advancement in bhakti is much better than simply eating prasadam as an ordinary food, not having this background understanding. That's the point. You may chant Hare Krishna, right? Anybody will chant. But when you chant Hare Krishna with the feeling, Krishna is present before me as sound. Krishna has mercifully come and he wants me. That's why he has come and descended on my tongue. These feelings. So bhakti is done with bhavana. Bhavana, again, not concoction or speculation, all real bhavanas, truth bhavanas. That is bhakti. That's why Prabhupada translated Krishna consciousness in Hindi as Krishna Bhavanamrita. So Krishna Bhavanamrita means right now our consciousness is I, mine, material world, like this. This consciousness is predominating in our, in our way of actions. Whereas Krishna consciousness means everything is Krishna's. I am Krishna's. I have to serve Krishna. This consciousness, this bhavana, this feeling is important, right? So this is what Krishna is speaking mainly in this second chapter. Bhavana. What type of bhavana you are developing? So I am eternal servitor of Krishna. It is a bhavana. Generally, people think I am servant of my family, servant of my company, servant of my nation, all these things. But actually, a servant of Krishna. Finally, Krishna says in the end of this chapter that you're going back to Godhead. Okay. So now, the last section, which we have been discussing since few weeks, Arjuna specifically asks about a person who has reached this stage of samadhi, or what is known as sthita prajna stage, wherein the person is very steady in his consciousness and always is acting in Krishna consciousness. So he wants to know the symptoms of a self-realized person who has come to this stage. Or practically he's telling, what is the symptom of a person who is in this stage of bhakti? That is the question. So for which Krishna very nicely explains the practical aspect of this stage is that when one becomes fixed in Krishna consciousness, he is beyond the disturbance of external material phenomena. He can experience transcendence even while in this body. This is what we have understood. Rather, we'll understand towards the end of this chapter, but so something has been revealed already. Right? No material situations, no material circumstances is going to affect one's bhakti. If somebody is telling, oh, because of this I didn't do this, because of this I didn't do this bhakti, then it is, you are the reason. Situations are not the reason. It's your mind telling you. So, actually bhakti is ahaituki apratihata. Apratihata means no material situation can stop you from performing bhakti because it is transcendental. Right? And it is without any reason. Ahaituki means no material reason can stop you. No other external reasons can stop you. Right? No disturbance, no other. No, you don't know how the mercy flows. Krishna's mercy is causeless on us. Ahituki. And material situations cannot be obstacles in our bhakti. Many times people used to ask questions to Prabhupada. One of the questions is, Prabhupada, if you are very poor, can we take up Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada says, it is not an obstacle at all. It is not being poor or rich. It is your willingness to become Krishna conscious. Right? Oh, one more classic question always Prabhupada always had is, people used to ask him is, oh, should I become a full-timer to become Krishna conscious? Prabhupada said, no. You can remain in your whatever position you are in. And you can become Krishna conscious. So Krishna consciousness in that way it is ahituki apratihat. It's a statement in Bhagavatam. So this is a transcendental situation which Arjuna wants to understand. So Krishna explains this situation that we can experience transcendence even in this body. Not that, when I will experience bhakti, I don't know. No. You can start experiencing the moment you become serious in Krishna consciousness. And Krishna also explains that all this boils to what is known as satisfaction. It is a fundamental symptom of one fixed in understanding of our constitutional position. To understand what is satisfaction, there are two words: happiness, distress. Many times people mistake or misunderstand satisfaction to be happiness. That is not correct. Otherwise, if that was the case, why was a separate word called satisfaction? Right? You may be happy, and you may not be distressed, or you may be distressed and you may not be happy, but you can always be satisfied. Satisfaction is the symptom or rather one of the qualities of the soul. There's a nice story which Prabhupada often begins like this. There was a poor Brahmana who was very satisfied. Generally, when you hear this, you think, poor Brahmana, how is satisfied? I am having so much money, I am not satisfied. How will a poor Brahmana be satisfied? This is the point. So the satisfaction is not, again, subjected to any external conditions. It is satisfaction within you. Atma suprasidati, Atmananda. That is satisfaction. So this is the point which Krishna is driving in this whole section, last portion of this Bhagavad Gita. How we can get this satisfaction, even you are in most adverse situations in the material world. Right? So satisfaction is something which you can always have anytime. Right? You may not be satisfied even by getting the whole wealth of the whole entire world or by getting all the name, fame and everything. But you can be satisfied. How? Only by understanding yourself as eternal servant of Krishna, and my real situation is to be always serving Krishna. This is satisfaction. Today I did chanting of 16 malas. This is my satisfaction. We should take satisfaction like that. Krishna is satisfied. Prabhupada is satisfied. Today, by Krishna's mercy, I was able to have prasadam. Should be satisfied. Because there are millions of people who are not getting prasadam. There are so many people who don't even chant Hare Krishna. Right? So many people don't even know there's a book called Bhagavad Gita. Many people know, they don't know what is inside the Bhagavad Gita. But at least I should be satisfied. I'm able to understand something about Bhagavad Gita. This is called satisfaction. Satisfaction is beyond our material happiness and distress. Right? Material conditions. Is all happiness, distress, good, bad. They're all dualistic conceptions, which we are all driven always in the material world to act in that way. But action in Krishna consciousness is not driven by good or bad. It's beyond these dualities. It is for the satisfaction of Krishna. Krishna is satisfied, I am satisfied. That is the point. Okay. So let's get into more details on what we discussed in this last section with regard to 4 questions. I'm trying to explain this background so that we understand subject matter more in a better way. So 4 questions of Arjuna to recognize a person situated in Krishna consciousness or who is a self-realized soul were. Question number 1 was, what is the general symptoms of a person? Right? Is answered in 55th verse. How does he speak? Pragnasya ka bhasha samadhi sastakeshava. Siddhati kim prabhasheta. Kim asita. How does he sit? And how does he walk? These were the 4 questions which Arjuna asked, for which Krishna systematically answered them. In verse 55, Krishna answers the first question. Basically, the general symptoms meaning general description and characteristics of a self-realized person. What is his disposition towards anything and everything in his world? And what is his mindset? Is what this verse, this question was basically, and Krishna explains that he gives up all material desires of sense gratification born of mental concoction. Thus, purified in mind, one finds satisfaction in the self alone. So, all the different types of activities we do is all different, driving factors for us. Or this will make me happy. This will make me feel. This will make me feel good. This will give me more name. This will give me more fame. This is nice. This is not so nice. All concoctions. Krishna says it's all born of your mind. You're working on the mental level mostly, emotional level. Right? So this emotional level called, which is actually because of our mental concoctions, we are so much absorbed and so much of time goes in just managing and adjusting things in the material world. Krishna says, give up all these things. This is what you have been doing life after life. You find satisfaction in the self alone, Prabhupada says. Which means, when you engage yourself in Krishna's service and take satisfaction by serving Krishna, because Krishna says, little service you have done, I'll accept that. Right? You chant my name, you take my prasadam, I am very happy, Krishna says. Little satisfaction you're supposed to take. So, the desires for sense gratification have to be given up, and desire for serving Krishna alone should be there in our consciousness. Right? Then this is what is going to bring you to the transcendental consciousness. Krishna says. So, the Krishna conscious person, a self-realized person, has no other business other than doing Krishna's activities, thinking about Krishna and working for Krishna. So he's always happy in this way. Any other thing will not make him happy. That's the point. Okay. So this is the general disposition of a person who is in Krishna consciousness or is a self-realized soul. Then Arjuna's second question was, how does he speak? Right? This means how the intelligence and the words respond to affection, anger, and neutrality. Basically, how he responds to various emotions and various circumstances around him. Was the question. So, for which answer from Krishna was, he is equipoised in happiness and distress. Dukkeshu anudvignamana sukeshu vigataspраha. Right? He is equipoised in both happiness and distress. He knows it is not, these happiness and distress are only external. not only body concerned, not for the soul. And he is free from attachment, fear, and anger. Vitaraga bhaya krodha. And also, Krishna mentioned that he is unaffected by good and evil and firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Right? He knows whatever situations I'm going through in my life, as good situation, bad situation, different upheavals I'm going through, is all because of my own previous actions, and it's all coming as reaction for me, right? Finally, this world is only going through this flux, but I should be fixed in this Krishna's service. I should never become influenced by the duality of this material world, right? Krishna is the only all good. This is the understanding he has. That way, anything happens, he just takes it as incidental activities happening in my life. Everything is Krishna sanctioned. He moves forward in that way. So his language is not like how people speak generally. Oh, I'm too much affected. I'm very much, I'm badly, I'm great tension, depression is going on. That happened, this happened. Now government is going to change. Now tomorrow there's a strike. Oh, too much tension. No, always, he knows. Whatever happens, happens. I'll give a nice example. Prabhupada is during, I think in 1971, there was a war, no? India-Pakistan war. Or India-Bangladesh war. Or India-Pakistan war. So, one of these wars, I think India-Pakistan war only. So, Prabhupada was in Delhi. There was a lot of bombing going on from Pakistan. So, one reporter came and asked Prabhupada, what do you think of this Prime Minister of Pakistan, Yahya Khan? He's bombing us so badly. What will happen to us? Prabhupada was very calm and gave a very nice answer. What will happen? In our case, we'll all go back to Godhead if we die now. Right? Because bombing also will happen. Because the important question was, bomb will come and hit us, what we will do? That was the question. Prabhupada said, if you're chanting Hare Krishna, we'll go back to Godhead. Right? So anxiety for an ordinary person with regard to his life and everything is so much. Whereas in Prabhupada's very calm and composed answer, not bothered what is, anything happens. Material world, war happens, peace happens. United Nations is made for that, to have wars always. Prabhupada says, United Nations is a nation, is all a group of dogs barking. Each nation has made a boundary and they'll be barking, wow, 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 wow. So this is what United Nations means, Prabhupada says. So United Nations only, they're increasing their flags, but no peace. Even now wars are going on continuously. So this all happened, this is how material world is. But why are you getting affected? Once more, Prabhupada was in South America. Somebody started asking Prabhupada, now in the future, so many things, in Kali Yuga will advance and very difficult, all these things, and what will happen, Prabhupada? Food will not be there, that will not be. Very, sometimes people become too much, this, world climate is changing, global warming, etc., etc. What will happen? What will happen? So like this, very lot of anxious questions were put before Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, why are you worried about everything? Take care of your life. Chant Hare Krishna. You have limited 60, 70 years. Chant Hare Krishna and go back to Godhead. Don't worry about the world. Prabhupada said, this is the way, we start doing and thinking about so many things which are not even concerned. We are like a small, tiny ant in this whole creation. And we are thinking about the welfare of the whole world. Welfare of the world, to your capacity, what you can do is that you chant Hare Krishna and make others chant Hare Krishna. Not beyond that. What you will do? How you can stop Ukraine war? If you want, you can stop. No, you cannot. Right? Like this, many things are going on under the supervision and control of Krishna. Nothing is beyond control of Krishna. Everything is under Krishna's control only. Some war is happening, Krishna has sanctioned it. Some earthquake has happened, Krishna has sanctioned it. In Turkey, there was an earthquake recently, Turkey, Syria. Krishna sanctioned it. Why he sanctioned it? It is his will. So many things are happening. There is collective karma of the entire world going on. Right? Like this, many things, what is all going on? Krishna is supervising and controlling everything. And again, he's sanctioning based on your activities, not that whimsically he's doing anything. Right? So, but people don't know and people don't realize all these aspects. Right? This is the point. So, a Krishna conscious person, how does he, how does he speak? Means what is going on in his consciousness? What is his intelligence? Speaking. It's telling everything is going on by Krishna's grace. Whatever happens to us from external resources, external things, is all incidental. It's because of our own karma. That's what you have to understand from this second question. And regarding the next question, the third question. The third question was, Kim asita? This was a very wonderful question. Arjuna asked, how does he sit? This basically means how Krishna conscious person controls his senses and his mind. That's the point. That's the question. Which Krishna answers very nicely. He uses his senses only for Krishna's service. And he does this how? Based on higher taste, he can control his senses. And this is what Krishna answered. Krishna gave the example of a tortoise and a devotee. How tortoise always keeps its senses, within the body, and when required, it will open up its limbs. Similarly, the devotee also uses his senses only for Krishna's service, otherwise, he will not use them for anything else. Right? A very wonderful example. See, that's what I told you. Bhagavad Gita is having very, very down-to-earth examples, very common examples which all of us know. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita's philosophy is the topmost philosophy, and explained in such a simplistic manner for all fools like us, in such a with wonderful examples, anybody can understand it. So Krishna is giving this example of how a self-realized person, he situates himself, which means situation means in any situation he doesn't use his senses for sense gratification. He uses his senses only for Krishna's service. Okay, how this is possible all the time? It is possible. Why? Because Krishna's devotees have got a higher taste by doing service to Krishna. Any other thing is like, very low taste. Prabhupada gives example. A hog or a pig, it is very busy in the gutter, eating all that nonsense. When somebody sees that, oh, what is this hog? What life it is. But for hog, whatever it is eating, it is halwa. And nice, special items it is eating. Right? So for you, you think, what is this? That is the level of taste it has. That taste. So like this, there are people of different tastes in this whole world. But when you come to Krishna consciousness experiences of prasadam, of association of devotees, understanding, this is having a higher taste. Param drishtva nivartate. Once you have tasted this higher taste, any other taste looks like nothing like that. In ISKCON, they give khichdi. Oh, so nice. Always I heard this. You have heard, I think in Bangalore, our people can certify this. Yes. Shobha Kamath, have you heard this? Yes, see, I know this. Because this khichdi, my mother used to tell me, what khichdi temple they give? Wow, very tasty. So the taste, even you do in the house, you don't get it. Why? Because higher taste. That's the point. Always you got the higher taste. Other things will be also Krishna consciousness. The philosophy, the understanding, then any other experience you take for that matter. Food, dance, music, everything is highest. Art, higher taste. So once you have tasted this, any other thing will be like, no match. ISKCON. That is best. Right? So devotees have tasted this higher taste because in Krishna association, that is the higher taste they experience. So any other taste is lower. That's how they can able to give up. That's how they only function only for Krishna's service. So Krishna further gives a warning. But there is chance. Our senses are accustomed to sense gratifications in so much life, so many lifetimes. Right? Even a great learned person, a great thinker, great sage, they also get bewildered when they see sense object, sense gratification. They fall for. Prabhupada gives example of Vishwamitra Muni, great sage. He fell victim of Menaka. Like this, it is possible. So Krishna says, the only best way to control our senses, engage in Krishna's service. Any other thing you do, any other yoga process, Ashtanga yoga, this and all, jnana process, to some level you can restrain your senses, but beyond that, you'll fall victim. That's what Prabhupada says in Bhagavad, in purpose. Very important revelation. Krishna consciousness is the only sure and safest path. Right? Prabhupada gives example how a hungry man is satisfied automatically when he has sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Likewise, when you're practicing Krishna consciousness, the way Prabhupada has told us, you will not need any other satisfaction. Every other system of spiritual discipline, yoga, jnana, they're lacking something. That's why they don't have experience of everything. Krishna consciousness, Krishna gives all satisfaction to you. That's why Krishna advises that better you only engage all your senses in Krishna's service. That is going to give you complete control of your senses. This is a very important principle Krishna gives in this second chapter. This question basically answer to this question. That when you engage your senses in Krishna's service, automatically senses get controlled. You're not tightly controlled. I'll not see, I'll not hear, I'll not taste. That's what these Mayavadis do or Gyanis do. Krishna consciousness, no. Eat nicely prasadam. See nicely Krishna deity. Dance nicely for Kirtan. Automatically your senses are. Sometimes, the common question people have is, Prabhuji, I am chanting Hare Krishna, mind is running everywhere, what to do? This question was asked to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna will control your mind. Our way of control is superior control. We don't control our mind. Our mind is not in our control. When you give it to Krishna, Krishna will control your mind. Hare Krishna mantra is so powerful, your mind and mind's father also will get controlled. Prabhupada says. So like that, everything gets controlled automatically. So this is the diamond command. So this is what Krishna says. But even otherwise, if you are not careful about this mind control and sense control, there's a chance of fall down. This is what Krishna wants to explain to Arjuna. So Krishna told Arjuna that if you are not Krishna conscious, you may fall down. How the fall down happens? Because Arjuna's plan that I want to go to forest and take sannyasa, all these things he was telling, right? So try to avoid fighting and all these things, so many sins I'll be committing. Also, Arjuna was telling so many things. So indirectly, Krishna is trying to point out to Arjuna, what you're doing is nonsense. Don't do all these things. It is sinful. What you'll control your senses. For you, devotional service is to follow my order to fight. That is your devotional service. Right? If you don't do this, you will be lost. That's what Krishna wants to tell indirectly through this answer to this question. Okay, and Krishna explains, if you don't follow Krishna consciousness, what may happen to you? Or if you are not Krishna conscious, what may happen to you? Krishna gave a cycle, the process of fall down. How will fall down? Because ordinarily when people are in the material world, they come across so many sense objects, different sense objects through advertisements, billboards, internet, television. They keep on bombarding. Nowadays, advertisements are so much bombarding always, everywhere from all corners. So immediately one of the objects may be point of your contemplation. Right? One sense object may be point of your contemplation. Then immediately this leads to attachment to your sense object. Attachment will develop into lust. Lust, if unfulfilled, gives you anger. And when you become angry, you are completely in delusion. Delusion means complete illusion. Then delusion will bring you to the level of bewilderment of memory. And memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. In this way, you fall down into the material pool. That's what Krishna explained in verses 62 and 63. Right? This is the way we have been doing. This is the cycle we are going through every time. This is how we have fallen down in the material world. Our material condition is because of this. And we are doing this repeatedly without knowing these steps. It's happening automatically. Our advertisement industries are very expert in making us fall down like this every time. Okay, they're using this formula. They don't know, but they're using this formula. Okay. So point is, the whole reason why you are in the material world is because of this attachment to sense objects. Sense objects you contemplate, attachment, and too much intense desire to indulge in it. Then you don't get it, become angry, memory bewildered, then intelligence, your intelligence lost, then you fall down. Like this, going on, cycle is going on, build up life after life. Many desires, not unfulfilled, not fulfilled, so I have to fulfill them. So one more life, like this life after life. So Krishna is giving us warning. If you are not situated, means if you are not asita in Krishna consciousness, you will be asita, situated in material consciousness. Material consciousness means what? Repeated birth and death. And repeated birth and death means repeated fall down again and again from a spiritual situation. That is the point Krishna is telling. Okay. So now, coming to the last question, which Krishna is answering, Arjuna's fourth question. This is answered in the verses which we're going to discuss now, from 64 to 71. Arjuna's fourth question was, how does he walk? Vrajeta, kim vrajeta, right? Which means, how does he use his senses? Senses means we have two types of senses. What are they? The working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses, right? So we have these Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. Arjuna's question about how he engages his senses, how he uses all his senses, was the question. So what is Krishna answered? The self-realized soul or a Krishna conscious devotee, he uses his senses with regulations based on religious principles. Prabhupada uses a very nice word in the whole discussion. He says, regulated principles of freedom. Right? Regulated principles of freedom, he uses the word. So basically, Arjuna's question on how does a self-realized soul, the prajna, act? Action means with your senses, with your knowledge acquiring senses, so Krishna conscious person is always self-controlled, which means he doesn't use his senses for anything else other than Krishna's service. That we have understood very clear, right? And Krishna conscious person is not bothered about what is going on externally and not too much emotionally hyped up with all these things. He's doing his duties, right? And Krishna conscious person is always disposed in a way that he's constantly he's rejecting sense gratification, accepting only service to Krishna. This much you have understood. Now, how does he practically act is the question, for which Krishna answers very nicely that he senses a Krishna conscious person acts or uses in a way that is as regulated, as directed by Krishna and scriptures in a regulated manner. Just like Prabhupada has given us 4 regulations, which is actually sum total of all our way of acting. Prabhupada says no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. These 4 regulations you follow. So these regulations are not restrictions. They are regulative principles of freedom. If you follow them, you will become free. Free from what? Free from cycle of birth and death. You may think, oh, no meat eating. Every Sunday I used to have nice meat. No coffee, tea. Oh, what is this Prabhuji doing? No coffee, tea. Every day morning without coffee, I cannot even, get up. So like this, so many things you would have got addicted to. Right? Prabhupada says, no child is born with a cigarette in his mouth. Right? All these habits we have got used to, or we have got, it's become, we have learned them by bad association, Prabhupada says. Right? All the different things, the 4 regulations which Prabhupada says you have to follow, they are unwanted. And we think doing them unrestrictedly is what is the purpose of life, goal in life. Modern day context, if you see anybody, everybody is, very, they'll be considered to be very advanced and, enjoying life if they can break all these regulations openly, right? Today I was reading a news. So many news keep coming. So it is said that one man, he is kidnapped a wife of one more family, husband, wife, and because that wife was earlier his girlfriend. And this girlfriend also likes this man earlier, but somehow marriage happened with somebody else. So now this wife and this man, they're somehow come together and they made an agreement with them, and then they're staying together. So the husband's family, they complained to police like this. My son's wife is kidnapped. Then the court came into picture and case happened. And this girl is telling, no, I like this man, so that's why I want to be with him only. I don't want my husband. Like this. So then court is telling, no, unless you have properly separated from this your husband, you cannot come to this man. And the court is imposing penalty on this person who has kidnapped this woman. See what all complications. I'm just giving an example. This is the news, flashing news. This is all a typical case of illicit sex. Right? She is married, not satisfied, and this person is kidnapping one more woman who is married. What all things are going on in the material world? Like this is only one example. Like this, every day, so many cases, and the whole television serials and movies are all filled with all these things only. Very masala type of things. So people think enjoying all these things in different permutation combination is life. Whereas Krishna says, if you go on unrestrictedly using your senses for sense gratification, is entanglement. Use your senses by regulation. Right? No meat eating means, we have so many other things. Prabhupada says, we have so nice, wonderful food. Cow gives milk. From milk, you can make hundreds of preparations. Today, I was hearing on lecture of Prabhupada says in Los Angeles. Earlier, you people, in very early 1969, Prabhupada is selling to all these Americans there. You are all people very, very addicted to eat meat. Now you're eating these sweet balls. Prabhupada is referring to gulab jamuns made out of paneer. See? And all of them, oh yes, Prabhupada, we are all in a very happy. So like this is a higher taste transformation. So, and when you can do this, that at every situation of your life, in every situation, every circumstance, you choose that this is what Krishna wants. This is what Prabhupada wants me to do. This is for my advancement in bhakti. Krishna says, if that consciousness is there in you, that is a special mercy of Krishna. Prasadam adhigacchati. Right? Prasada means mercy. Krishna mercy means this consciousness comes. Somebody gives you some nice plate of one sweet. What you will say? Is it Krishna Prasadam or no? Not that simply, oh, very nice sweet. Where did you get it? No. First you should put this question in your mind, or this question should come in your mind. Is this Krishna Prasadam? If this question comes, it is Krishna's mercy on you. Mercy of Krishna has started. That is called regulated principles of freedom. Because you are only acting for Krishna's satisfaction. And you don't want to do anything which is not going to satisfy Krishna. That way, he is transcendental to all attachment and detachment. Prabhupada says, if Krishna wants, devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable. Right? Something, which you don't like, but because Krishna wants, you will do it. Early morning, getting up, Mangalarati, 4 o'clock, very difficult. Nice sleep is coming, deep sleep. But you get up, undesirable, but you get up. Ekadashi, no food, no other grains, no chapati, no dal, no rice. Undesirable, but you do it because Krishna wants it. Similarly, Prabhupada says, if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. Right? A social function, but there is a wine party there. What to do, Prabhuji? I'll just go there and only stand there. I'll not touch anything. Best is to avoid. Don't go to that party at all. Because invariably everybody will come with a glass and offer you. Please have little know what is there. So better to avoid going to that party. That's the point. Right? Krishna does not want to do this. Have devotee association. So this is the point. So Krishna's satisfaction is the main thing. So my senses only act for his satisfaction. So if this is the way your senses are working, then there's complete mercy on you from Krishna. It is Krishna's mercy. It is called regulated principles of freedom, not restrictions. And Krishna says further, one who is in this consciousness, for him, the threefold miseries don't act. What are the threefold miseries? Adibhutika, Adidhaivika, Adibhautika, Adhyatmika. Miseries pertaining to mind and senses, miseries pertaining to external forces, external other living entities, and miseries pertaining to natural disturbances from different demigods. Right? I'll not get into more details. So we are free from material miseries, and then Krishna says, always you'll be in a happy state. Your intelligence becomes steady. That is what Krishna says. Your buddhi becomes very steady. You become the sthita prajna, Krishna says. If you don't do this, like Krishna says in verse number 66, if you are not in this consciousness, which consciousness? The discrimination consciousness is for Krishna's satisfaction only. Then what happens? Krishna says, if you don't have this type of a transcendental consciousness, then your mind is not controlled. Mind is not controlled, so you don't have a steady intelligence, and because of which, no peace. Always there is a sense of not satisfied. Right? Krishna says further, no satisfaction, no peace. Then where is when there is no happiness, where is the peace? Krishna says. Right? Like this, Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness is such a wonderful situation. When you are practicing Krishna consciousness, it is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Because you know very clearly the peace formula. Krishna is the only enjoyer. Krishna is the only proprietor. Krishna is the only friend. This formula is very clear in your mind. You don't want to enjoy yourself. You don't want to own anything in your name. You don't want to, show off that you are a very good person, well-wisher of everybody. No. Krishna is everything. Right? So this is Prabhupada says, this is a self-manifested peaceful condition. So if you are not in Krishna consciousness, forget it. You'll not have peace. You'll not be free from miseries. You'll always be unhappy. That's the point Krishna makes. And Krishna further gives a warning in verse 67 and 67 onwards. He says, but be careful, Arjuna. Senses are very strong. Even on one of the senses, if the mind focuses, then there will be a big danger. He gives an example, very nice example, you see, simple examples. He says, Vayur navam imam bhasi. Nava means boat. So, this boat, when it's on the water, the ocean or a sea, if you see, with a strong wind, what will happen? If there is no proper control system in the boat or ship, it will get carried away. Likewise, with regard to devotee's mind and senses, because he is regulated with regard to regulations coming from authorities, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So his mind is always in a controlled fashion. For a person who is not in this controlled fashion, mind will say, oh, do this. He will jump on it and finish. Everything is over. One moment. Right? He was such a nice person, no, but what happened? Oh, he did something like this. That is what Krishna says, that senses, don't trust your mind. Don't trust your senses. They can give way anytime. That's why always engage in Krishna's service. For Krishna is in verse number 68. He says, Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrahitani sarvashaha. This way you please restrain your senses, Arjuna, by only Krishna consciousness and my service. Anything else you do is not going to help you. Engage your senses only in my service. Prabhupada gives example of Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj used all his senses only in Krishna's service. With his sight, he was seeing Krishna. With his nose, he was smelling the flowers offered to Krishna. With his mind, he was thinking of Krishna. With his ears, he was thinking of hearing about Krishna. Like this, all senses were used in Krishna's service only. Only then, when you use your senses in Krishna's service, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, Prabhupada, it is possible that we can become a nice sadhaka, a suitable candidate for liberation. Otherwise, lost, gone case for Krishna says. So, having said this much, now Krishna starts giving us two wonderful examples, very common examples with regard to actions. He gives example of an ordinary person and a sadhaka or a self-realized person, for that matter. Now, actually gives example of day and night. Nisha, Jagrati. For us, what is the understanding of day and night? Day means you are all active. Night means what you will do? Sleep. Rest. Correct, no? This example Krishna is giving in verse number 69. Day and night example. So, Krishna gives a very wonderful, understanding to this example. He says, basically, he wants to say this. When we see ordinary people doing so many things, busy in watching movies, enjoying sense gratification, we think, what nonsense they are doing. They don't know what is the purpose of life. Basically, they are sleeping from self-realization perspective. From a spiritual perspective, they are sleeping. They don't know. Whereas those people will comment on us. What these people are doing early morning, 4 o'clock, getting up so early, no sleep, no TV, nothing, then chanting, dancing, what all they are doing. They think we are ignorant about or we are sleeping their way. They think we are enjoying life. But these people, devotees, what they are doing, no enjoyment only. That is the point. So, what is day for them? They think we are very active, we are enjoying. You think they are ignorant, they are actually sleeping in self-realization. Whereas, from their perspective, we are active, but they think we are sleeping from their perspective. Each person looking from their perspective. That's the point. That is day and night. Okay. So Prabhupada gives example of this day and night to explain us that there are two types of intelligent people in the material world. One is intelligent in sense gratification, material sense gratification. One more is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Which means both look same bodily features, same dress. But internally, the way a person is seeing and he's thinking and he's acting is something different. Right? So, which means his self-realization spark is awakened for a person who wants to practice sadhanas and want to become Krishna conscious. It is always looking forward how I can become more Krishna conscious, how I can understand better, how I can culture my Krishna consciousness better. That's what he's always looking for. And always he's feeling happiness, satisfaction with every activity he does. Oh, today I completed my chanting. Today I could read this much Bhagavad Gita. Today I could preach to so many people. This satisfaction he's feeling. Whereas other person is satisfied. Today I watched 10 movies on Netflix. Whole day, no sleep also. Big achievement. Or Sunday, I have slept for 20 hours. Wow, great achievement. So like this, they have their own level of satisfaction. That is the point. Day and night example. Then one more example Krishna gives in verse number 70 is about the ocean. Because when you come to the point of satisfaction, peace, being very peaceful, shant, right? What is the example? So Krishna gives the example of ocean. He says, the ocean, especially during rainy season, so many streams of waters and many rivers are falling into the ocean. Even then, ocean always looks very calm and steady. Correct? It's never overflowing or overbrimming. Always maintains calmness. So this example Krishna gives for a person who is Krishna conscious, self-realized, even though so many desires will keep coming in his consciousness. Because as long as the material body is there, or past conditioning will be there. But even though the material, desires surface up, but he is very careful which desires to dovetail in Krishna's service, which desires he has to just keep quiet. Because desires which are very unfavorable, anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Favorable desires which can enhance in Krishna's service, he will use them for Krishna's service. Unfavorable desires, no, he will reject them. Accept, reject, accept, reject. So even though the Krishna conscious person looks like an ordinary person, what happens? Many desires keep coming. He wants to fulfill all of them until the last moment of his death. Right? He doesn't know when he's going to die, but he's having a lot of plans. Prabhupada gives example, you have heard this. A person, Prabhupada's time, in Allahabad, he was there. One person was dying and he's requesting doctor, please give me 4 more years. I have so many things to do. Prabhupada says, what doctor can do? He cannot give you 1 moment also. Right? Like this, unfulfilled, unlimited desires. Right? Aneka moha vibhranta, moha jala samamritaha, Krishna says in 16th chapter. So like this, whereas Krishna conscious devotee knows, all these desires Krishna wants, he will fulfill. But I can only desire for Krishna only. That's the point. So, Krishna conscious person, he has no inclination for sense gratification, material sense gratification. Right? Desires may be present, but his desires are only for satisfying Krishna. That's all. That's why he always maintains that peace and calmness. Prabhupada very nicely explains that there's a statement in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are people, ordinary people known as bhukti. Bhukti means karmis, who want to enjoy everything, a result of every activity they do. They're called bhukti. And there are people, jnanis, who want mukti. Bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami. Bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami. basically karmis, jnanis, yogis. They are sakali ashanta. Always they are not shanta. They are always ashanta. No peace. Ashanta means empty vessels make more noise. Okay, that's what ashanta means. So, whereas ocean is always shanta. Devotee is nishkama. Ata eva Krishna bhakta eka shanta. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. This is the explanation which Chaitanya Krishna gives. And finally, Krishna concludes his answer, the fourth answer. How does he act? By telling, by summarizing, he has given up all desires for sense gratification. Vihaya kaman yes sarvan. Umam sharati nispra. He has no other desire. He is desireless. He has given desires for sense gratification. He has no other desire. He is desireless. Desireless means, Krishna Prabhupada explains, to become desireless means to only desire for Krishna. For himself, there is no desire. But anything Krishna wants, that is my desire. Just like Prabhupada gives example, Arjuna, earlier his desire was not to fight. But for same Krishna, later on after he heard Bhagavad Gita, the Arjuna, he fought to his best ability. So Prabhupada says, desire for satisfaction of Krishna is real desirelessness. So desirelessness, then nirmamaha, free from sense of proprietorship. Means nothing is mine, everything Krishna's. This is the point. Very important. Right? Everything is Krishna. Krishna is the master, Krishna is the owner, Krishna is the proprietor. Nirmamaha, nirahankaraha. Right? Nirahankara means no false ego. No false ego means I am not this body, I am spirit soul. I am eternally part and parcel of Krishna. Three things Krishna says. One is nispraha, nirahankara, nirmama. If you have these three proper background in your mind, then sashanti madhigacchati. He alone can attain real peace. So with this, Krishna concludes this chapter, verse 72. He says, this is the way. Which way? Answers to these four questions is the way, Arjuna. This is the way of spiritual and godly life. Esha Brahmi Siti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimukhyati. If you follow this way of acting, sitting, or acting, situating yourself, and having your intelligence always responding to external situations, then you will not be bewildered by anything in this material world. It will always be fixed up properly. Even at the time of death, antakalepi stitvasyam, even at the time of death, hour of death, you will be properly situated, because that is the time when people get shaken up, bewildered. They get confused. They don't know what to do. Their mind is filled up with so many thoughts. But if you are constantly doing this, whatever we discussed, 4 questions, answers to the 4 questions, this is going to make you fixed up in Sthita Prajna. This will make you become Sthita Prajna, and this will make you enter into the kingdom of God. Brahma Nirvanam Prichati. So Prabhupada says, so attaining Krishna Loka is not that you will take many lifetimes, millions of lifetimes. It is just a matter of your understanding and accepting it. It will take just your one life. Prabhupada says, even within a second you can become fully Krishna conscious if you properly practice. Otherwise, if you don't practice, how many millions of lifetimes you have to go on, we don't know. That is the point. So this is the practical instruction of this chapter. And you should become serious in Krishna consciousness. Situate yourself in Krishna consciousness always by following these instructions carefully, seriously, by performing devotional service. Right? This is the only hope for us to come out of this material bondage. So this is the entire chapter's description. Okay, I think I have taken more time today to complete this chapter. explain things little more detail, so that you will not miss out any important details. Okay. So let's conclude now. Anybody anything to ask? Any questions? Any clarifications?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, though we all desire to attain the status of Sthita Prajna, but for many of us, we are still taking faltering steps. We are going little forward, then coming backward, going forward. So we need help from the Lord to keep a steady progress.
What help you want?
Because we are not, many times we are not able to be steady the way the Lord has prescribed.
The same question was asked to Prabhupada. Okay, almost similar question. No, we are not steady. What to do? Prabhupada says, being not steady is not Krishna's problem, it is your problem. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Surrender completely to him. But you are holding back some things, what Krishna can do. Right? Being steady is in your hand. Right? If you want to really be steady, Krishna will help you. How serious I want to be is in our hand, in my hand. Krishna is always ready. See, Krishna has come as holy name. Krishna has come as deity. Krishna has come as Bhagavad Geeta. Krishna is mercifully available all around you in different forms and shapes. You don't want to take help of Krishna and instructions of Krishna, then whom should you blame?
Myself.
Right? So we should become introspective. That's what we understood in verse number 69. Introspective. Introspective means look within yourself. See what is my shortcoming, where I am going wrong, how I can do better. When you are very serious in this matter, that I want to improve really, you should be determined. Prabhupada says, enthusiasm, determination, both are required. I want to progress in Krishna consciousness. That is first thing. I want to become steady in Krishna consciousness. This enthusiasm is required. And with that enthusiasm, you become determined. What are all things needed for this? It's like you have been traveling abroad. But traveling abroad requires many other requirements, right? You need to have visa, you need to have so many things. But all that you try to fulfill them before you travel. Otherwise, you will not be allowed to travel. Likewise, so whatever needed to become Sthita Prajna as a sadhaka, we should first of all know them. And once you know, is what this whole last section of Bhagavad Gita, the last section of this Bhagavad, second chapter, is telling us. The requirements are very simple. So once you know the requirements, you should endeavor to fulfill them as much as possible. Right? And while endeavoring to fulfill them, you pray to Krishna, pray to Prabhupada for their mercy, because we don't have any strength on our own. We can only pray. But desiring is your capability. Atma's capability. You have to desire strongly. That I want to progress in Krishna consciousness. That is what Krishna wants. That intense desire to move forward in Krishna consciousness. Your eagerness to become serious. Your sincerity of purpose is what Krishna is looking for. So if there is something which is lacking, you should introspect. Introspection is very important. Okay, today there was a situation wherein I couldn't act in a Krishna conscious manner. Say for instance, I couldn't speak to somebody in a nice way, proper way. I was very harsh. Why is it so? Introspect. Many times, many actions we do, we just take it for granted and think that is the right way. I am like that. My nature is like that. We justify ourselves with our actions, with our talks, with our various activities. So, but in Krishna consciousness, everything we need to conform with the standard of what Krishna wants us to do. Like Arjuna is thinking so many times, should I fight or not fight? The positive side of it is he's a devotee. He's thinking so many times, fighting is not good actually. Why unnecessarily killing? This is devotional side of his personality. So before we talk, Prabhupada says, think 10 times. Like this, before we act, any action we do, Sita Prajna, you are not Sita Prajna. Okay, I am I am failing. Okay, I may fail today 8 times. Tomorrow I will improve and fail only 6 times. It's improvement. Right? Out of 108 beats, I have heard only 1 beat, Hare Krishna mantra. Okay, let's move forward. Tomorrow I will hear 3 beats. Let me pray to Krishna to give me strength. So it is a constant improvement process, Krishna consciousness. Okay, this is not that, oh, I have become Krishna conscious, now everything is done. Just like, once you finish your education to some level, you think, done, I have done my education, a PhD, double degree, etc., etc. Krishna consciousness is not like that. Krishna consciousness is a ongoing, continuous improvement process. There is no limit. Even Radharani is thinking. There's a nice, aspect mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Radharani's special feature is every day she is cooking new items for Krishna. Can you imagine this? Every day new. In my case, I make idli twice in a week, twice in a month. Right? Same item we repeat, right? How many things new? I have to learn so many things. But Radharani, even then, she is not satisfied. What new I can make for Krishna? What new? This spiritual world. What better I can make? How nicely I can do? This spiritual world. Filled with lot of enthusiasm, energy, and enlivening way of functioning. So even the most advanced pure devotees think, I could have improved better. I could have improved better for Krishna's service. Because the way Krishna reciprocates with them is so complete. That's the point. So there is enough scope for us to move forward, provided our mood and our attitude is very, very, devotional and sincere. And we really want to move forward in Krishna consciousness. Really serious and sincere. That's the point. Yes, we may be, doing something now to one level. Yes, understanding Bhagavad Gita, again trying to read, know the details, trying to improve further, which means internally you are working hard. You are not settled down. That is not what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada never settled down. Because Atma, nature is always be active in Krishna's service. Whereas outside world, once you're retired, you're settled down in your life. Means you don't have anything to do. That is not what Krishna consciousness means. Krishna consciousness means you're constantly seeing how I can become, more purer, how I can purify my consciousness more. So nice question. Basically, yes, there's a scope of constant improvement. That is a very good mood. And with this mood, we go on endeavoring to improve. And definitely, Prabhupada will help us, Krishna will help us, if we have this mood.
Okay. Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Fine. Anything else? Yes, Deepak ji.
Hey, Prabhu.
Oh yeah.
Next time you already next time there is a question answer session, we'll ask there.
Question answer next time. Okay, we'll wait. Fine. Shall we close now? Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.